Death and Other Details, episode 7 out of 10. This one entitled Memorable. And yeah, it is memorable. We have an unexpected twist, which is the biggest twist so far, and we're going to get to that towards the end of this episode, but it is a good one. Welcome back to the channel. My name's Sean. This is Sean's Take. This is your spoiler warning for episode 7 of Death and Other Details. I'll assume that you've seen the show and don't mind it being spoiled. And I will also be using clips from the show, as is allowed under the fair use provision of the copyright laws of 1976. Let's dig in. All right. So we start with Imogen waking up in what turns out to be Rufus's body, almost like a Freaky Friday. And the alarm goes off and shakes the whole room because Rufus has a hangover, as he always does. So she's walking a mile in his shoes. And that's what, the episode is about, is Imogen digging into what Rufus learned in 2005 so that she can figure out what he missed. Because if you remember in the previous episode, it was determined that the Llewellyn, the lawyer, told Rufus to his face that it was right in front of him and he missed it because he's such a hack. So now they're trying to figure it out. And Imogen is smarter than Rufus. So we flash back to, I don't know that we're flashing back, we're remembering back through Rufus's eyes to the Collier estate in 2005. 6 months after the death of Kira, Imogen's mother, we find out through we find out through Llewellyn, the lawyer, that it was Imogen, the child, that found how to contact Rufus through the internet because of the books he had written, and he's the world's greatest detective. And so we get to see again the meeting of Rufus and Imogen and in this case, it's Imogen talking to Imogen, except that we do skip it. And Imogen says to Rufus, I lived this part. I know this part. Let's go through the other bits. Hey, if you're enjoying these videos, and I appreciate you watching, it really helps the channel out if you could give it a thumbs up or leave a comment or both, or maybe even subscribe if you're enjoying them. Let's get back into it. In the interviews that Rufus does of all of the people that knew Kira, Llewellyn, the lawyer, describes her as an angel. And then we see everybody else's reaction that no, she was a good person, but no angel. Lawrence Collier does describe Kira as the best assistant he ever had, and they travel together to Shanghai often. Rufus does ask the question, or what were the sleeping arrangements, and Lawrence is offended. So I thought there might have been something there, but it turns out I now don't believe that there was anything there. We do get to see Kira's mother interviewed by Rufus, and in this case, Imogen, who's looking at her grandmother. We don't get a whole lot from Grandma, but she was there. They do get to the Opal Diner. Now, there's something about the diner, and Imogen can't remember. So they interview the cook. So while Rufus is talking to the waitress about February 12th, the cook decides he needs to leave, and Danny is standing there to stop him. So the cook thought it was some loan sharks come to collect, but it wasn't. And he does finally admit that he not only remembered Kira, but he also remembered her order. She always had a tuna melt with disco fries with extra gravy. So she left an impression. And Imogen runs over it a few times, and she tries to follow to where her mother went and can't see who she's talking to. She just can't remember, and it begins to bother her. So Imogen ends up talking to Imogen. Not Imogen as Rufus talking to Imogen as a girl, but Imogen, the grown-up, talking to Imogen as a girl. It's a little confusing when you try to say it out loud. And the little girl says, okay, if you really want to know, and starts to run. So grown-up Imogen has to chase her, and we run through a lot of Imogen's memories. And we see, Llewellyn singing, I guess that's why they call it the blues, drunk, obviously pining for Kira, maybe. We see Trip and Anna watching The Simpsons on a projector on a screen, using a projector on a screen. There's a lot of things, and we cut through, and it's memories. It's like the stuff of dreams, and we keep getting different things. I did like the fact that at the diner, it was Radiohead that was playing on the jukebox a song called There There, if you're interested. I did like those musical choices. There There by Radiohead, and I guess that's why they call it The Blues by Elton John, better than the Come Sail Away in the previous episode, but I won't get back into that. Young Imogen leads older Imogen all the way up to when the car is about to explode. Mom's in the car. If anybody's interested, I believe that car is a 1968 Volkswagen Karmann Ghia. I know it's a Karmann Ghia, but I think it's a 1968. If you know for sure, let me know in the comments. But that was a factory color for that car. Breaks my heart every time they blow it up. And we blow it up right now. So Imogen's in the car talking to her mother, and we see the little replica of the desk, the table from the dollhouse that has a secret compartment. It's a replica of the one that's actually in the study that also has a secret compartment, and Imogen knows that Catherine keeps her first engagement ring from a guy she didn't marry in the secret compartment. And then we see, you're going to make me give it back from inside the car. And then the car starts to explode. And I thought that was a neat moment when they did it in slow motion. And the explosion is happening, and Imogen's thinking faster than the car's exploding. And she realizes there's a conversation she forgot in that car. And the car goes back together, and we're in the car, and we have the conversation with Mom. And Imogen trips to the fact that it was Mom that made her not remember. And both the woman that made her cry at the diner and the other one. And so we do go back to the diner, and young Imogen opens the door and looks and sees Virginia, who is in current times on the Verunda, the governor that just died. So she was the one that Kira met. And Kira was trying to blow the whistle on the Collier Mills company, and Virginia refuses. She won't take it. She says no. So she made Kira cry. And then Kira says, I'm sorry she made you both cry. And her mom says, what do you mean both? Said, your friend with the mole. And then we get a pan of a shot from the back of a person. We see Kira sitting in a booth at the diner, and it pans around, and we see the mole on the woman's face, and it comes around, and it's a young Celia Chun. That's the big twist, that she was the whistleblower witness that was going to destroy Collier Mills back in 2005. So Imogen leaves Rufus and goes to the dining deck and confronts, announces to Celia that she knows that Celia was the witness that was going to bring down Collier Mills. And that's the end of the episode. And the people that are there, Catherine's leaving as Imogen walks in. We haven't seen Lawrence since he accepted the deal with the Chuns. So sitting there are the Anna and Trip, and of course Eleanor Chun. So they all get here, and I think the priest, the reverend, is there. I point to my neck because he has a dog collar on. So boy, that's a big one, and we're still on the boat. And we're still out to sea. We haven't made port yet. This is episode 7 of 10. So we have 8, 9, and 10. So that's all going to be a lot of. We covered a lot of ground in these last 2 episodes, and now there's still 3 episodes left, and it feels like we're into the end game. But maybe we're not. Maybe there's another twist yet to come. What do you think? Again, it helps the channel a ton if you like, and if you really do like, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you know when we release more. Also, on our community tab, if you go to the channel homepage, on the community tab, there is a poll about what shows you're watching next that are coming up, so that we can get together and talk about them. All right, but that's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time. This is Sean. This is Sean's Take. See you next time.